Welcome back. Jack Attack.
The Waylanders,
The Waylanders.
Bob Marley and the Whalers.
Jack and the Whales.
Waylanders.
Yeah, welcome back. Sorry if you tried to join
It's
our
a
live
Wayland
stream.
of a tailend.
We did try and do this as a live stream, but I just moved. I lost my adapter and we didn't want the sound to be terrible, so we're back.
But now it's kind of an official set. We got
I know.
elbow support.
I'm like, are we in a podcast studio?
This channel is about to take off.
My spine health is about to take off.
Oh, yeah. Success is in the elbows and spine.
So we're on chapter 11, which is page 172. I'll just show you. That's how much we have left, that skinny top bit. That's how much we've survived. So today...
Love those skinny top bits.
We're going to be reading chapter 11. I've got a glass of white wine in front of me at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Woo!
Chapter 11. So wait, what happened the last time?
Oh, it's been a long time.
They did a song
and
together. Oh no, didn't she say I just broke up with Thomas? I swear that happened.
This is
a
such a suppressed memory. I'm going to have to call Teal Swan.
Yeah, and they went to the fancy themed novelty restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And basically she was like, I've broken up with Thomas, and he was like, I love you, or something to that effect, right?
Oh, something like that.
All right.
They for sure kissed at some point recently.
And she had to be more careful about going home early because they were together now.
Oh, yeah. He berated several employees.
Oh, yeah. The balloon man was abused. Second abused balloon man and Charlie.
The mascot, the monkey mascot who was roaming around the place for reasons. Hard to believe that business didn't stay in business. Seems like a flawless model.
That same night, as soon as I got home, I went to my grandparents' room and knocked. Grandmother? Grandfather? I need to talk to you both. He was still calling Laura mum too, but he's like, grandmother? Grandfather?
Grandfather? He's wearing like a nightgown and cap
and
carrying a candle.
It's very important. My grandmother came to... Have you watched Schitt's Creek?
I've seen episodes at your house.
You need to binge all of it. My grandmother came to the door and opened it. Is something wrong? No, everything's great. Brianna broke up with Thomas. She told me she thinks she's in love with me. Oh, that is such good news. She turned on the ceiling light. Eddie, wake up. Brianna broke up with Thomas. I love how down with the kids these grandparents are.
Yep.
He sat up in bed and rubbed his eyes. She what?
They're not from... They seem like hip grandparents. All the grandparents I know would be like, do not wake me up. Actually, if it's like 3 a.m., they're already awake.
Just grandparents. She broke up with Thomas. Isn't that great? It's an answer to a prayer, that's what it is. This calls for a celebration.
Tiramisu.
Like, 3 a.m. tiramisu. They put on their robes and we went down to the kitchen and had hot chocolate and graham crackers.
A hot drink? You celebrated with hot drinks. The Lord died for your sins, and you are drinking hot drinks.
I'm guessing it's actually maybe more like 11 or 12 then.
Yeah.
Because you are not doing a 3 a.m. graham cracker, however fun and cool you are.
These are some graham crackers is what we're dealing with.
They insisted I tell them every detail, which I was happy to do. We laughed and ate and talked until past midnight, and then we had family prayer.
A Jack Whalen classic describing how you regaled the information to somebody, how much they loved being the recipient of so much information that sometimes you just cover again in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. And then they went to bed. After getting ready for bed, I went into my room, into my closet, and retrieved my mum's paintings as well as my sketches of Brianna. As I looked at each one, I tried to imagine what my first mum's reaction would have been if she'd been able to get to know Brianna. I was sure she'd love Brianna and be very happy for me. At that one instant in time, I felt so alive and happy and content with my life. Everything was going so well for me now. I had a better idea of who I was, and I was in love. And I would probably be getting married sometime soon. How could anything be better than that? I think he's going to jerk off. Something's going to...
Oh, he's feeling a little too good.
There's not that much left. So.
I think he's already been saved by the healing power of Christ. I don't think we're ever going to see that again.
No way. I sat at the harp and plucked a few strings. For some reason, it seemed to anchor me to my first mum. I cannot believe Jack made the decision in like chapter 2 of this book to do the first mum, second mum thing and has just stuck with it. I don't know why, since she quit playing it soon after her folks bought it. Jack's like, I just couldn't think of another thing that might anchor him to his dead mum, so even if she wasn't very good. Even though I didn't remember her, I felt a real connection to my first mum and wished I could talk to her. I remember the story my dad had told me of when she knew she was dying and pleaded with me not only to say mummy, but to remember her. Third time that story's been rehashed in this book.
In this book.
Now it was me.
We get it. They did a good job in the movie.
The movie was powerful. The violinist, incredible.
Stop acting like that's you.
Now it was me wondering if she remembered or thought about me, or if she was too busy in paradise capitalized, to think about her son.
So busy.
Paradise.
What's she doing in paradise that's so fun that she couldn't think about her living son?
Attention, paradise.
Charlie, your son is struggling with...
It's mostly speaker stuff for Charlie, It's a big source of her humour. Just getting on a speaker and just kind of ad-libbing, seeing what comes out. Mum, please remember me because I love you now. I glanced out the window.
I love you now, Mummy. I didn't before, but now I do, Mummy. Mummy one.
Please, you're my number one. He goes home and all those little elementary school craft projects where you have to write number one mum on a trophy. He just tears them all up and he's like, you're number two.
He gives her a mug that's number two mom. Literally.
We need to make mugs that say number two mum on them.
Mum number one, mum number two.
How easily could we get that on our Etsy shop?
Pretty easy.
You could just pick the font, right?
Yeah, easy.
Can we seriously do it?
Yeah, do you guys want mugs? Do you
guys want mugs? I glanced out the window. The sky was beginning to turn grey. I wanted to spend as much time as possible with Brianna on Saturday and needed to get some sleep. And so I slipped between the sheets and soon fell asleep. After all that sugar, it's really unlikely.
And Laura's the mum who stepped up,
I slept until noon. Wow. When I finally got up, I found a note from my grandparents telling me they'd gone to get groceries.
Doesn't sound like someone who's on top of the world.
I shaved, showered, grabbed something to eat, and called Brianna on her cell phone. When she answered, she told me she was at work and wouldn't be home until 6. Since when do you work Saturdays? I asked. My boss called me at 8:30 this morning. They have an important case that needs immediate attention. And guess what? He's putting me in charge of the whole thing. That means no more making other people look good. I'm my own boss on this. Isn't that exciting?
Girl boss, get it.
Yeah, sure. Great. Good for you. Yeah, sure. Sure? I'd be fuming. Thanks.
Your mom number one is so ashamed of you.
Your mom number one would be sick.
It's not that she forgot about you. She can't forget you quick enough.
He was one. She watched you through the porn thing and she said, no son of mine. At 6 o'clock, I was sitting in my car in the shade of a tree in front of her apartment when she pulled into the parking lot. We hurried towards each other and hugged. That's what I've needed all day, she said, as we walked hand in hand to her apartment.
That was the most sexually charged hug that's ever been.
Hurrying to hug? That seems questionable to me. Me too. I was going crazy waiting for you. I was so desperate I was about to commit a crime just so I could have you for my lawyer. She laughed. Nice. He's like, it's in the family. She laughed. I'd have defended you for free. My day has been awful too.
There's a pro bono joke in there, but they can't reach for it.
What happened? Well, it's fairly complicated and boring, actually. I couldn't help wondering if she thought I would never be able to understand what she did every day at work, but I didn't let it bother me. She let us in and then headed to her room.
My little feeble brain couldn't possibly understand the artifices of law.
He didn't let it bother him, though.
No.
She headed to her room. I'll be right back. I need to change.
It's surely he can grasp the process. He's just that's not something I'm interested in, but...
You're welcome to anything in the fridge you can find. She came back in a few minutes, barefoot and wearing a pair of khaki pants and a t-shirt. She opened the refrigerator. Have you eaten? Not yet. You want to go out? No, let's do with what's here. She grabbed a carton of eggs and a green pepper, some cheese and a package of sliced ham from the refrigerator.
She's better than me. I'm like, let's go out.
Then began to cut the green pepper into tiny pieces. That does sound like you, though. Buying a green pepper, cutting into tiny pieces.
Yeah, on the daily, yeah.
That's major Tanner energy. I came up behind her. Oh, I came up behind her and wrapped my arms around her waist and kissed her on the back of her neck.
Okay, one of the top 3 sexy, most commonly sexy things you can do is kiss someone on the back of the neck in the kitchen.
This is now officially a sexier book than the mega romance we're reading.
Oh, 100%. And we've laughed out loud, even out of the tomfoolery of it.
We have.
But that's more than Liberty Adams offers us.
We are basically immune to bad fiction at this point. We can find a diamond in any rough. That feels nice. I love you, I said. I love you too, but I missed lunch, and so right now I am starving. So let me work, okay? That's kind of relatable. I relate to that.
Getting hangry.
How about if I go read your paper? Sure, that'd be good. Oh, one thing. It's the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, so? Jack has a complex about not being as smart as women, I swear. Every book, he battles this, except for The Dead Woman. Well, it's not the most exciting reading you'll ever read. Is that it, or do you think I couldn't understand it? She laughed. Adam, I don't know anybody who completely understands the Wall Street Journal. But you go ahead and try if you want, then explain it to me. Yeah, lawyers don't understand the Wall Street Journal, I'm sure. I've read a couple of articles in the paper but couldn't understand them. What is in the Wall Street Journal, this?
I have no idea.
I started turning... I feel like I always
Stocks?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're reading, like, the...
What's going on in the
But they just do, like, normal... I started turning pages.
Seems like a fairly common... like, The New Yorker. I don't know anyone who...
The New York Times. They got any comics in this paper? She laughed. That's what I asked the first time I read one. We sat and ate and talked. That's a line Jack's written 1,200 times, I swear. We sat and ate and talked. He just always says that.
This is strong, has never left Rexburg energy.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it hit me. This is so great. Do you like the omelette that much? No, not that. It's you and me sitting around the table, eating a meal together, talking about our day. I mean, think about it. We could be doing this day after day for the rest of our lives. It makes me really happy to think about us together. So yeah, it is fun those first times that you just do normal things together and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, but slow your roll, Haas.
No, he's getting married soon, remember?
And honestly, likely will just straight path to marriage. She's like, yeah, this all seems like green lights to me.
She leaned over and kissed me on the cheek. It makes me happy too. I went into the living room and brought back the Wall Street Journal. A little light reading, hey? Brianna said. Something like that.
Are we still doing this joke?
I looked at the article I had read. What does it mean to buy a hedge fund? What does it mean to buy a hedge fund, Tanner?
A hedge fund is an investment portfolio that businesses run that you can buy into and basically have your money be split up into several investments and everyone kind of benefits together. Their joke's going to be about him doing like yard work and he's like, I think hedges when you trim the bushes in front of a house. Ho ho ho, I'm just a blue collar.
Tanner, you've been reading Jack Whalen for too long because what does it mean to buy a hedge fund? She laughed. Leave it to a gardener to come up with that question. What do you think it means? Yeah, only gardeners would be like, what's it? People who invest in hedges? Sounds good to me. I set aside the paper. I'm serious. About what a hedge fund is? No, I want you to teach me everything you know, so when you come home you can tell me what happened at work and I'll be able to understand. Oh my God. Can you imagine? I was like, Jared, teach me everything about welding because I want to know. I'm like, no, thank you. There's a reason we do different jobs. You want her to teach you law? Just add to her already overwhelming caseload?
Go to school, my guy.
Go online, bitch. Oh no, but he can't go online.
He can't, no, he's forbidden.
Across the country because of online.
No, there are naked bodies on the internet.
She nodded. All right, we can do that. It might take a little while though. Let's get started. Really? Right now? I've had a killer of a day, Adam. Can't we talk? How did your day go? I told her about the party my grandparents and I had the night before, after I told them she'd broken up with Thomas. There was a loud knock at the door. She got up from the table. Oh, this feels like a recurring theme. That's my boss, she said. He told me he might bring over some papers for me to look at before work on Monday. Remember when it was a thing that, like, in the last book, like, Laura's boss, like, came over one time and then there was a whole thing about like she's gonna have an affair with him and then she was like, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. And it was just like,
God.
What? So are you gonna marry Sam then? Or?
Oh no, is this just gonna be Sam phase 2?
Oh no, the old switcheroo. She opened the door and gasped. I looked up and saw Thomas, but he hadn't yet seen me. Thomas, what are you doing here? She asked. I need to talk to you. Can I come in?
Is this a Mark situation?
Yeah, I think so.
Is he just doing the movie Mark thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think the bookmark didn't happen, right?
The bookmark. There's no bookmark.
Is Jack just writing out the plot of the film of a section that he didn't direct?
Jack is very strong in specific storylines, and he repeats those storylines. He didn't wait for an answer. Once inside, he saw me at the kitchen table. Have you moved in here already? He asked me. No, just visiting. He turned to Brianna. We need to talk, alone. Brianna looked shocked, but said, let's go outside. Adam, will you excuse us? They ended up just outside the front door. Because Thomas had trial lawyer's voice, I could hear what they were saying. That is so handy.
What I wouldn't give.
Don't tell me you're actually considering marrying that custodian or handyman or whatever he is.
Oh, no.
Jack Saki. It's definitely a possibility. What is wrong with you anyway? Why would you do such a stupid thing? He makes me happy. Tell me the truth, Brianna. Are you pregnant? Is that why you're thinking of marrying him? I can't believe you said that. What is it then? I mean, good grief, use your head. He has no education. Sorry, he's a computer programmer. He's hardly like some, zero earning potential rando.
No,
like,
definitely from like comfortable middle class. Like,
yeah, doesn't have any student debt yet, but he can already code websites for companies. That's
he's
pretty
working
cool.
for his family-owned business. Like, it's fine.
His grandparents, yeah. You'll end up supporting him. And how much do you two have in common? And what do you two talk about? Why throw away your education for someone like him?
I mean, it's just like there's so many things to criticize about Sam or Adam or whoever. It's but we have to play into, it's like the Liberty Adams thing of like, this is the reason things are the way they are.
Is Thomas Mormon?
Thomas?
Yeah.
You'd think so, right?
I think he isn't, right? I think he isn't, but he's like...
No way she'd get engaged to a non-Mormon, and no way Adam could marry someone who was going to be engaged to a non-Mormon.
Well, I bet he's not as good of a Mormon as Adam.
Of course not. No one is.
Why throw away your education for someone like him? Okay, he has a good tan, I'll give him that, and a fair build. Sorry, but as I've learned from Love Island, sometimes a good tan is literally all you need for someone to be attracted to you.
Well, then I could be a little tanner.
It's gone on too long. And a fair build, but come on, are you really that shallow? Okay, a fair build, that just reminds me of the fact that a man in the Whole Foods on Friday night told me I had an amazing figure and it was horrible. I felt so uncomfortable.
Someone at Whole Foods
I texted you about this.
Told you had a bad figure?
An amazing figure.
Oh.
But I'm just like, he was bending down. I'm like looking at the crackers. He looks over at me and then he's like, you have an amazing figure. And I was like, I heard him the first time, but I was like, an amazing what? And then he was like, an amazing figure. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then I walked away. It was like a neutral thanks. Just like, you just stared at my ass from ground level. Cringe. Like, come on, are you really that shallow? So what we're learning from this is that Adam could potentially co-spy just on his looks. That's exciting.
That is exciting for our protagonist.
It's true he doesn't have an education, but he's not stupid. He can learn. I mean, just
Why, just last night, he asked me to explain to him.
That's what it says.
What a lawyer is.
I mean...
I started with the 10 Commandments.
I mean, just tonight, he asked me to help him understand the Wall Street Journal. Okay, this is actually a pretty sick band from Thomas. What word did he have the most trouble with? Wall or street? At that point, I'm like, go back to Thomas. At that point, I'd had it. I opened the screen door and stepped outside.
Also, I feel like lawyers are usually, well, at least the degree he's operating at. Don't they go to like a fancy gym together? Yeah, right, he's in better shape.
Yeah, right? Well, yard work, though.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
Being some treadmill clone can't get you in yard work shape. At that point, I'd had it. I opened the screen door and stepped outside. I think you'd better go now. If you really care about Brianna, don't marry her. Why? Because you'll never be able to appreciate her like I do. You mean because of my lack of education? It's not your lack of education. You could always get an education. No, the thing you don't know is that she's brilliant. I'm afraid you'll turn her into some overweight, frumpy soccer mom with 20 kids, too tired all the time to make any kind of contribution to society. Actually, the fat phobia aside, valid point though about a Mormon boy just turning her into some overworked mother who's like detached from their career in law, because Mormonism is not exactly encouraging women to pursue a career in law in 2004.
Also at that point, detached from her kids too, because you can only give so much attention to every single child, and the more you have, the less attention needs to get. That's just math. I'm sorry.
So if he's saying, like, you know, with 20 kids, I'm like, is he tapping into Adam's religious zealousness? If so, I can get behind that. He turned to me. What year in college are you? I'll be starting this fall. As a freshman? Yes. Have you picked a major? I paused. Oh, sorry, am I going too fast for you? If I am, you just let me know and I'll slow down. Do you even know what it means to choose a major in college? Or does the word college have you stumped? He is going in. Thomas, Brianna cautioned. You haven't picked a major yet, have you? He asked me. Oh, the sickest bird. Oh, you haven't picked a major?
He's like, what? Let me guess. You want to be a general studies major? And Adam's like, yeah, I want to be a general.
I know I keep beating this dead horse, but I'm like, in 2004, having programming knowledge, software development knowledge before you've even got your degree, like, he's fine. He doesn't even need a degree. If he was able to build websites for his parents' company just through knowing development, he's fine. He could be earning 6 figures without going to college.
Jack feels so put down by lawyers
and
other so-called smarts who
so
just look down on us. They hate people like me.
They're all clones at the gym. I could see being a physics teacher at BYU Idaho really kind of eating away at you and your self-confidence intellectually.
Yeah.
I was going to major in information systems, but let me guess, you changed your mind. Look, no hurry. Take all the time you want to get through college. 5-10 years, it's all good. Thomas, you'd better go, Brianna said. Does Lawnmower Man here know how much your student loans are? No, we haven't discussed that yet. I think you'd better. He might have second thoughts about getting into a marriage with someone who has student loans well over $100,000.
Not under Biden's new big reveal. Ooh.
Well, she get Pell Grants, though, so it's only going to be a little bit of it. Men do love debt-free virgins with no tattoos. So.
Correct.
My mouth dropped open. Surprised? Shocked? Thomas asked. It's typical for students who go to Columbia Law School. The reason people are willing to get into that kind of debt is they generally start at high enough salaries they can pay off their loans in a few years. He turned to Brianna. Does he know how much you're earning now? No. Maybe you should tell him, Thomas said. Why should I do that? It will give him something to shoot for. He doesn't have to make that kind of money. No, but who's going to make payments on your student loans while he's going to college? Her. What do you mean? If she's got a great job, then great. Sounds like is this just because of the assumption that women quit their careers when they get married?
I guess.
Or that, like, you have to have kids right away? The Tooth Fairy? Santa Claus? Or maybe he can get a few more lawn mowing jobs. I hardly think that will cover it, Brianna. He's kind of giving my dad right now. He poked his finger at me. Aggressive. If someone poked their finger... Oh, well... Poked is like made contact, right? That's so mean. That's so scary.
Hey, listen, every time you point a finger, you got 3 pointing back at you. Unless you're like me and you point with 2 fingers.
All 4.
You're Spider-Manning.
He poked his finger at me. I don't have anything against you personally, but I do strongly object to the mess you're both going to get into if you get married. You have no goals. She's goal-driven. You like mowing lawns. She likes pitting her intellect against the best legal minds in the country. If you're happy, she'll be miserable. If she's happy, you'll feel like a failure. He's not wrong.
A fish may love a bird, but where would they build a nest?
So where's that from?
The film Ever After.
He turned to Brianna. That's why I got in my car and drove all the way here. It's not just because I don't want to lose you, Brianna. It's not just because I thought you and I would make a good team. No, it was much more than that. As your friend and as your colleague... Don't pull as your colleague in a breakup situation.
Also, why is everyone jumping to the idea of them getting married? They literally had their first kiss, like, the other night. This is...
I mean, they've been hanging out for, 4 weeks, so that's it. That's all you need.
Oh, yeah. They should have already been married.
Paul and Morgan say you should be very careful and you shouldn't have a super long engagement. You don't really want to go past a few months because you invite temptation in.
Yeah, otherwise how else will you capitalize off of vlogging your dysfunctional sex life
By
on
the
YouTube?
way, that video I sent you the other day of the therapist reaction to Paul and Morgan, you actually should watch it. It's so eerie and entertaining. And
cool.
The therapist does an amazing job deconstructing it as well.
Cool.
But they are insane. Basically, the whole video is just like, our sex life used to be super bad. We've come a long way. We wouldn't say it's perfect, but we've come a long way. We've got a long way to go, though, but that's why we have our whole lives to learn how to do sex. That's literally their video.
We can even make eye contact now.
It's so bad. Like, it's very clear that the only way they're able to, like, communicate about sex is, like, through card games and stuff. Like, that's the only way Morgan feels safe enough. Like, anyway. That's the whole thing. As your friend and your colleague, I beg you both to reconsider a marriage that will bring you nothing but grief. Okay, I know money and debt and earning power aren't that romantic, but they are facts of life, and they do break up marriages. You two may be attracted to each other, but that's not going to pay the bills. I admit I tend to look at cold hard facts, but in a case like this, that's not such a bad idea. Okay, it's really desperate, my dude. Thomas, you need to go silently into the night.
And although I'm an attorney, let me be the judge of this. For I have witnessed a few items. It's law time. Time to do law.
Oh, I wanted to rip this guy's head off, but I knew I couldn't do that. Because he'd sue me.
And then I'd have to appear on Judge Judy. And I'm just a yokel that she'd try to confuse me. Ask me to read the Wall Street Journal as a proof that I have donkey brains.
The one thing I didn't want to do was argue with him, and so the only thing I could think of was to poke fun at him. I started clapping. Great job! I'd give you a solid A. Look, if you ever need a letter of recommendation about courtroom technique, you just let me know. Have you got anything to say for yourself? He demanded. What's he supposed to say? Like, yeah, I am a lawnmower, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I do. I'm in love with this girl. And she loves me. That's all that matters. If you think that, you're living in a world that doesn't exist, said Thomas.
That's been clear from the start. He's in his closet talking to his dead mom.
Mum won. I'm going now, Brianna, but this isn't over. I love you too much to give up without a fight. That's never a good strategy. After he left, we went back into the apartment and sat down at the kitchen table.
He sues Adam. That would be awesome.
Adam should sue him for defamation in front of his love. Yeah. And then it's like him solving Wall Street Journal crossword puzzles under a timer in court. We sat down at the kitchen table for a long time without saying anything. How much are your student loans, I asked. $120,000. How much do you make? $70,000 a year, but it should go up in a few months. Oh, what will it be then? I don't know, maybe $90,000 a year.
Okay, Thomas is making a good point, because she's right at the happiness threshold where you don't actually get much happier as far as income is concerned, and marrying him is going to be a downer long term. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I felt awful. That's real good. She nodded. We were just a few feet apart from each other, but it seemed like a mile. If we got married and moved to Utah to go to BYU, could you get a job there as a lawyer? Eventually. I'm not licensed to practice law in Utah, but I could get some kind of job there.
I don't know the laws of Deseret.
It wouldn't pay as much money though, would it? No, probably not. Well, then maybe I'll just change my plans. I won't go to BYU. But that's what you've always wanted to do, isn't it? I don't care about it now. You're much more important to me than anything else. But you need an education. Why? Because I don't want to work when we have a family. I stood up. I need to go home and try to figure out what we're going to do. She came to me.
I need to go figure out what we're going to do.
She came to me and we held each other in our arms. But somehow it wasn't the same.
Oh,
come on, it sounds like if you just stay here, do college here or do BYU online or whatever. I guess they wouldn't have that back then. But just do school here. She'll pay off her student loans in a few years. You're a computer programmer. I just don't really, this feels like a lot of hoopla about nothing. And I feel like Jack really doesn't understand the earning potential of someone who can do computer programming, because I'm like, this premise doesn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, yeah, he's mowing lawns right now because he's like a rich tech guy cosplaying as someone who's poor for his soul. It's just like some guy living in like a glamping yacht at Burning Man. It's not. He's not poor.
His going out to the farm to reconnect with
He's
labor.
His grandparents' only grandson, so he's got full inheritance. He's fine. He doesn't even... Does he have... No, he does have siblings.
Even if he inherited their business, it would ultimately be as like a landlord owning several properties. Like,
yeah.
He's fine.
He's got and his dad owns a computer business. He's got wealth on every side. Don't really get it.
It's so dumb.
But Thomas made some valid points, so it is confusing.
I'm gonna have to go read the Wall Street Journal, see what that's all about, see if my tiny little brain
I know, I'm are we dumber than we
realized?
realized? Do we just... I mean, I guess he is like a freshman in college, though, to be fair.
Yeah. I didn't know
I didn't
shit
know
about
what
myself
yeah.
or anything when I was a freshman in college. Thanks for joining us for yet another episode.
Yeah.
Please continue supporting us on Patreon like you always do.
Please. Yeah, we love you. I really like this setup. I feel so held
this is
by the marble countertop.
Don't even have to worry about my back giving out.
Although I'm so hot. Okay, thank you guys. Bye. Love you.